Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be separating out the two cooling loops for the engine and the intercooler. Currently they are both sharing the same coolant, which I think is really hurting my performance for my water to air intercooler. Now unfortunately, I was supposed to get all the parts needed to do this yesterday, and a certain delivery service, like normal, didn't come through. So the parts are going to get here today by 8 p.m. It's about 8 a.m. right now. So I'm going to go ahead and start working on this and hope the parts get here in the next few hours. So the first thing we're going to do is drain the loop. I actually have this Bosch electric water pump. I need to figure out where I want to mount it. Not with this piece. With this piece. And I can go ahead and start plumbing some of it. The other thing I want to do is remove that intercooler and put on the smaller intercooler. Again, I'm trying to see the effectiveness of different size intercoolers and setups. If the smaller one doesn't work, we'll go back to the bigger one. So anyway, I'm going to get to work. Rotating the heater core and putting the drain plug there, that literally just drained the entire loop in about 2 seconds. That was awesome. Here's now what I'm trying to figure out while I wait for parts. I've kind of realized I am going to be mounting my water expansion tank slash reservoir. It's 2 tanks in one. I'm going to be mounting it over here, and the water pump is going to be somewhere over there. So I have to go into my intercooler here, come out, and somehow wrap around to the other side. Conveniently enough, I have a heater core right here, and it is getting colder, and it's about to be winter. So I think I'm going to try that to see how it works. I am a little bit concerned about how hot this is going to get, but at the same time with that electric water pump, I'm going to be pumping a lot of water through the system. And if anything, this will help cool off the water loop for the intercooler just that little bit more. So while I'm still waiting for a certain package delivery service to get here, I'm going to go ahead and start trying to figure all this out. Alright, my package still hasn't showed up from said delivery service, but this is kind of what I'm thinking the setup is going to be. Water reservoir is going to be here. I'm going to feed it into the Bosch water pump. It's going to pump it into the heat exchanger. It's going to go through the heat exchanger, come up to my water to air intercooler. We're going to cool down the charged air. We're going to come out the intercooler, go into the heater core, come out the heater core, come up and over and down back into my coolant reservoir slash expansion tank. I think this is going to work quite well. I'm not cutting this hose until the reservoir gets here. I'd like to make sure it fits real well because I only have so much of this hose, so I'm trying to use as little as possible. But I really like this setup. It cleans up the whole front of the engine bay, and I think this is going to work really well. I am curious to see how the 4x6 barrel style intercooler does, and there is a good possibility we might need to go back to the 4x10. But again, I'm trying to experiment here. So now I'm actually going to work on wiring up the Bosch water pump while I wait for parts to get here. I have everything hooked up and wired up, and I've confirmed that I get 12 volts here when the key is on. And now I just need to wait for the rest of the parts to get here so I can wrap this up, put water in it, and go test it. At around 5:30, my part finally got here. I should say parts. I needed a 1/2-inch MPT plug. but my coolant expansion tank and reservoir combo are finally here, so we're gonna get time-lapse set up again, and we're gonna get this installed. Good morning, everyone. It's the next day. I've got kind of a weird situation that I'm going to try to fix right now. I have a lot of air in the system, and my fill point is not the highest point in the system. It's actually either the intercooler or the tubing here going to my heater core, which is causing a lot of problems. I'm not seeing any movement of water with my Bosch water pump. I can hear it running, but when I look in the expansion tank, the water is completely still. So I actually have a vacuum filler tool coming in tomorrow. I really don't want to wait a day, so I'm going to get this outside and I'm going to try pushing water through the system with a hose to try to get as many of the air gaps in the system out as possible. And if that does work, I'll try taking it for a test drive. All right, everyone, I'm having a couple of issues. I think I have a blockage in my heater core because this top hose never gets tight. When the water pump's running, all the rest of the hose, you can't really squeeze because it has pressure. This top hose never gets pressure, and I'm barely getting any movement in this box. So I'm thinking the problem's in my heater core, so I'm gonna bypass it real quick and see what happens. All right, trying to get my camera set up here. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see that, but this sucker is moving water now, and I could not get it to move water before. So I've got some kind of blockage in my heater core, which I'm gonna have to look at some point. All right, everyone, this is going to be the first test drive of the coolant system on its own loop. The flow is good. I've taken the heater core out of the loop, and we're going to see what this does for boost EGT. And I've really got to install a air intake temperature gauge, or intake air temperature gauge, IAT. Let's do this. Yeah, let's go see what it does on the hill climb. You know what? I'm not completely convinced I have my wastegate shut all the way. We should be making more boost than this. We should be making a lot more boost than this. All right, everyone, I'm going to test the theory real quick. I have some threaded rod, which is the same thread size as the turbo. So instead of using this piece of aluminum, I'm going to replace it with this threaded rod. My theory being that when the turbo's trying to create boost, because I bent this aluminum rod myself, I have a feeling it's actually flexing, the wastegate is opening, and I'm losing boost. It's easy enough to add this. This was like $4 from a parts store. We're gonna see if this fixes the issue. All right, everyone, I like this setup much better than my previous setup. I haven't wrenched this nut down tight all the way, but I kept tightening it until I noticed the door not moving anymore, or the lever, or whatever you want to call it. So now that I've done that, I'm going to hook the cameras back up. We're going to go out for another test drive. We're going to see what our EGTs are, boost, everything, and see if that was potentially a problem we were running into. And again, that was like $3, so completely worth it to try to make that piece just to see if this fixes the issue. All right, everyone, this is 2 turns out on the fuel screw. We've redone J-barring the wastegate shut on the KO3 turbo. We've bypassed the heater core, and we know the coolant loop for the intercooler is working. So let's see if this works. We just hit 2 pounds of boost, just barely going the driveway. That might have been the issue. It's not perfect yet, but I think we just saw 16 pounds of boost. I just lost. I just blew off my boost hoses. I heard it. Yep. And I blew off the one I thought I might blow off too. All right, I'm gonna limp this back to my house, fix the clamp. Kind of knew that was an issue, I just forgot about it. Then we're gonna try this again, but right now, this is running better than it's ever run. All right, I have put a hose clamp where I had forgotten to put a hose clamp, and see what kind of boost we can get. Again, at 15 pounds, I blew the hoses apart, and quite frankly, that's fantastic news. I couldn't figure out why I was not making boost. So, yeah, let's go for a drive. Here we go. We got really close to 1,000 on the EGT. And that might be where the 4x10 could really help. All right, everyone, that's all I have for this video. I am very impressed with this setup. Unfortunately, I think my previous 2 setups were being hampered by my wastegate. I think that was a major goof on my part. However, I don't think it would have changed anything. I think this is the correct way to go. I'm very happy with what it's doing right now, but the temperatures still are not quite there. I need to still tune my fuel. I still need to tune my TCU, because right now when I go into torque converter lockup in 3rd gear, my EGT spike. And I think next time we're going to go ahead and switch to the 4x10 barrel style intercooler, because I'm really interested to see how much that extra volume does with this setup. I think it will make a huge difference. But anyway, it's YouTube. You know what to do. Take out more than you bring. Tread lightly. I'll see you soon. Goodbye.